Jules, we've been through this. You are not strong.
Oh yeah. Hey guys, what's up? It's Jules here from WhatCulture.com, joined by the only other man in the office that I could probably beat up in a fight, Scott Tailford. Yeah, definitely could. We've just been playing Hitman 2, and I have to say, it is one of the best games that's here at EGX 2018 because it is polished, it is accomplishing so many things, and it provides such a free-form level layout that you can approach this situation from as many ways as you can possibly imagine. Scott, what are your thoughts on Hitman 2?
Well, I remember thinking this back in 2016 when you played like the first rebooted one, and I was just like, the amount of time and effort they put into it. We talked about how they made everything release episodically, which meant that every level that you got just had this insane amount of detail. And I remember playing this new build. The build that we got to play was the level set in the F1 racing track, which I think they've been showing off for a while. But the beauty of that is that you just start the level and the reps are just like, figure it out, go do whatever you want. And it made me think that, I mean, it's such a buzzworthy phrase, but it's like every NPC matters. But genuinely, you do walk into these levels and you're like, okay, every single one of these is like a potential threat, or is someone that's going to notice me doing a crime, or is someone's clothes that I can steal. And so like when I went about the level, I ended up stealing a security guard's uniform, which got me inside the plaza, which meant that I could track down the race car driver that I was getting. But I looked across at your screen and you were dressed up as like a mascot, and you were like trying to do this like fake dance thing, because if you stand still, 47 will do the animation that matches what you are. So that was the thing. And so like I was the security guard standing like all stoic or whatever, waiting for my chance to strike, and you were like running in with like this big animal beak thing, and you managed to get in even closer. But even that, I mean, that's kind of like, you know, like standard Hitman gameplay, but you do see it with like just the sheer amount of possibilities in the world. It's kind of staggering. Like Bethesda have the monopoly on like the big interactive game world, but I think IO are like low-key stealing that from them.
Yeah, I mean, one of the main things that I noticed about playing it was just how tight the gameplay felt. Like everything's been refined since the first game, or the first episodic content season, as you would say. And the best thing is that it feels like being inside one of those a 1980s nostalgia film mixed with James Bond. Everything is so over the top, yet at the same time, it felt very grounded in its own reality. It's aware of how silly some of the things can be, and yet it exploits them to the maximum potential. Like, there's the villain in this one was wearing a turtleneck, and he was building android robots for the army, and then his daughter just so happens to be an F1 race car driver who is also racing in the same area. Like the conceptualization of that is mad, and yet I beat somebody to death with a didgeridoo. Like it's a game that sounds like a comedy game, but it was very serious. Like
it reminded me of like one of the DLC ones they put out for the first season was like this fake movie set where you could rig a lot of the props to take people out. And yeah, one of the targets in this is like this, like, I don't know, android manufacturer or something, not the phone, the full-on cyborg. And there was a bit where you could rig it so that the android's auto-targeting system, if you put the ID card in of the guy that you're trying to kill, the android would just activate and kill the person instead. And it's those little like elements of like black comedy or like really sardonic, ridiculous stuff that I just absolutely love. And obviously Hitman's hinted at over the years, like the little rubber duck or whatever that he's had in the past, and the electrified toaster.
It ain't bloody little. Have you seen
It's a huge thing. It is surprisingly light though. You'd struggle to kill someone with that. But it seems like they've kind of gone full into that stuff, and the way that you end up thinking as the Agent 47, you can do more of those ridiculous things, whether that's crashing a car, making a robot kill your target, or just hitting them with one of the limbs of a robot, whatever. It feels like they're steering into the stuff that people love the most, and it's like I said, I keep going for the phrase like low key, because it doesn't feel like Hitman's as big as it used to be, but the strides they're taking with this, it just feels fantastic. So yeah.
There's a few other slight gameplay things that I noticed, such as the mini-map's been improved greatly. You now know where you are. There's a map available to you at the start, which actually pinpoints where you can go. It gives you directions. The opportunities actually pinpointed a bit more obviously now. Some will say that does take a bit of the freedom out of it, but then again, remember, you can play this however you want. You don't need to track the opportunities. They are just set ways of killing people within the level. Basically, it gives beginners a great chance to jump into the series, and for veterans returning from the previous ones, it gives you so much more choice, and that is what being Hitman 47 is all about. But yeah, as per usual, we will bring you much more coverage on Hitman 2 when it releases, as well as the review. So as always, I've been Jules.
But Scott.
You've been awesome, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye!